Hey there, welcome to the channel. My name is James, and here at 20th and 21st Movies, we are about all things cinema. All right, I want to share with you my thoughts on this recent 4K Ultra HD release by Criterion on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray combo pack of the 1967 film from Seijun Suzuki, Branded to Kill. This is spine number 38 in the Criterion Collection, so it is a upgrade of the current Blu-ray in the collection. So I want to share with you my thoughts on, is this a worthwhile upgrade to pick up? Is this an edition that is recommended at all? I'll let you know my thoughts on the other side of this, so stay tuned. All right, I'm back. Just like that, I'm back. Wanted to share with you my thoughts on this edition from Criterion. Again, this is spine number 38. This edition has been in the Criterion Collection for a number of years, and it has recently come out in 4K Ultra HD. This is Seijun Suzuki's 1967 film, Branded to Kill, starring Joe Shishido. And this is a really fascinating film. I've seen it a number of times now. Very recently, of course, I saw it when I first picked up the Blu-ray edition, which I have in the collection. Had it for a number of years. It's a very fascinating film. It was great to revisit this movie. And I found myself watching it again and again just to soak it in and to appreciate it, because this is a very different type of film. This is a film that's very different than any other Suzuki film, from what I understand. This is my very first of his films, so I need to dive into his filmography a little bit more. There are a number of films from Suzuki in the Criterion Collection, so I look forward to diving into them a little bit more to get an appreciation for how these films differ. But this is his film from 1967 called Branded to Kill, and it's got a very fascinating aesthetic to it. It's shot entirely in black and white. Beautiful black and white photography, so I'll talk about that when I talk about the picture quality on this 4K Ultra HD disc. And I'm really happy that I picked up this edition. Just as someone who owns the original Criterion Blu-ray, I'm very happy to have this 4K edition, and I'll talk about that in just a second. But let me read the back of this case. It says, Seijun Suzuki's Branded to Kill. When Japanese new wave bad boy Seijun Suzuki delivered this brutal, hilarious, and visually inspired masterpiece to the executives at his studio, he was promptly fired. So there's a really interesting story behind that in terms of the whole, goings on with the Nakatsu studio and the Japanese film studio system at that time. The special features do a nice job. There are no new special features, by the way, but the special features that are on here do give mention to, Seijun Suzuki's background, and that he served in the Japanese Imperial Navy, and he got out of that, got into making films, how he made his way to Nakatsu studio, and how they treated him when this movie was getting made and when it came out. Very, very fascinating story around that. So he was fired from the studio, then Branded to Kill, which is Koroshi no Rakuin, sorry for butchering that name, tells the ecstatically bent story of a Yakuza assassin with a fetish for sniffing steamed rice. So this character, played by Joe Shishido, has this weird fetish for steamed rice. It's like an aphrodisiac or whatever. It does something for him. He loves to sniff steamed rice. The chipmunk-cheeked superstar Joe Shishido. So that refers to Joe Shishido had some implants put in to make him look more like a leading man. So that's also covered in the special features, and it gave him these puffy cheeks. So I think he thought that would work for him. And his character botches a job and ends up as a target himself. So he's a Yakuza assassin. He goes on these different jobs with this organization. He's the number 3 ranked assassin in this organization. And there's this number 1 ranked assassin that's out there that he's striving to take over that ranking. So that's part of the story and part of what you end up getting to, which is really, really fascinating. So this is Suzuki at his most extreme, the flabbergasting pinnacle of his 60s pop art aesthetic. This is a very artful film. The story is presented in a way that doesn't give you much in the way of exposition or much of an explanation of the events. You're just sort of following this assassin played by Joe Shishido, going from one job to the next, meeting different people. You don't get to know a whole lot about the backgrounds of these characters. You're just sort of in the moment following Joe Shishido as he's going on this journey, Joe Shishido's character as he's going on this journey. If you crack open the case, you'll see here that there's a Blu-ray included. Of course, the 4K is in the player here, playing the menu, which you can only see part of it because I have the camera set up where you don't see the full screen, unfortunately, in this case. But hey, I want you to see a slightly different setting. But you see on the inside, very similar look to the inside of the Blu-ray edition. It's the exact same, except you have two cases, two places for the discs, for the Blu-ray and for the 4K. Other than that, the color scheme is the same. One difference you'll note, though, you have the same essay in this fold-out. You get a fold-out in the case of this new 4K edition. So you get a fold-out, but you had, so I'll show you the pictures here on this fold-out. I'll scroll over so you can see this beautiful fold-out. I mean, it's a nice fold-out. It's got the colors on there. It's beautiful looking. It has the nice essay, the excellent essay in here, which tells the story of this film and Seijun Suzuki and his dealings with the studio. But you have this great essay, Reductio ad absurdum, Suzuki Seijun's Branded to Kill by Tony Raines. So that's the essay included in here. And as I mentioned, the difference between this and the former Blu-ray or the Blu-ray edition is that in the case of the Blu-ray edition, you get an actual stapled booklet. And there's a little bit more in the way of photographs shown in this Blu-ray edition. So I'm a little bit surprised as to why they did not carry over the stapled booklet. So that is one difference between the old Blu-ray edition and this new 4K edition. Also, another difference is, you'll notice, check this out, as I'm dropping things on the floor. You'll see the butterflies are included in the art on the inside on the 4K edition. So that's a nice touch. There's a butterfly motif that's part of this story, whereas on the old Blu-ray edition, it's just the plain pink. So that is a difference, a mild difference. Let me pick up this insert. But yeah, that's a nice touch. They had the butterflies in here, but they give you a fold out as opposed to a stapled booklet. So I don't understand that. That's a little bit of a downgrade here in the case of this 4K edition. Now, I enjoyed the story. It is a little bit challenging to follow in terms of exactly what's going on, but it is a very fascinating story following this Yakuza assassin and seeing his journey all the way to the climax, which I will not spoil. But there are some really fascinating characters along the way, including this lady here, who you're only seeing a part of it, but she's pulling up part of her outfit. But she is a very fascinating character. If I can just get to the cast of this movie here. So you have Goro Hanada, who is the assassin played by Joe Shishido. And then you have number one. He's the number one assassin played by Koji Nanbara, which is a great scene between Hanada and number one at a certain point in this film I won't spoil. And then you have the character Misako Nakaju, who is played by Anu Mari. And she does a fantastic job in this film. She is the character that you see here. She is another assassin who is assigning him, Hanada, a job, and she is all part of this organization as well, which just adds some intrigue to, what is her character about? What is her angle? How is she related to the organization? And what is she trying to do here? Is she trying to kill Hanada? What is her angle in this story? So it's all a very fascinating story that takes a little bit of time to follow, but I think it's rewarding in terms of seeing the progression of Hanada over time. It's not a conventional, story in terms of giving you a lot of exposition or explanation of what's going on, but it is an interesting story to follow and just seeing the characters as you're moving along this journey of Hanada's journey, as he's sniffing this rice and getting this aphrodisiac feel, dealing with, womanizing different, ladies along the way, his wife cheating on him with the boss in this organization, all kinds of wacky, crazy things going on in Branded to Kill, and it's all very entertaining to watch. Along the lines of watching, let's talk about what are you seeing on this 4K Ultra HD. So let's get to the picture quality on this disc and how it compares to the Blu-ray. So you're getting a new 4K digital restoration. So this is a new 4K digital restoration. From an audio standpoint, it's the same uncompressed mono soundtrack. So no change to the audio, but you are getting a new 4K digital restoration. Now it's important to note that on this 4K Ultra HD disc, there is no HDR application. So there's no Dolby Vision grade, there's no HDR10. It is standard dynamic range, not high dynamic range. So that's something to keep note of. You're not getting that HDR treatment on this release. And I don't really know what decisions go into that in terms of, is it a cost decision? Is it an artistic choice, given what they think about what HDR would do to a film shot like this, with some of those really dark scenes with HDR push it too far in the direction of being too dark in the case of Dolby Vision? I just don't know what the technical reasons are behind why they would not choose to do a Dolby Vision grade on this. But I can tell you that from a 4K picture standpoint, this looks very, very nice on 4K Ultra HD. This is a very nice incremental upgrade over the Blu-ray that came out a decade or so ago. So this is the Blu-ray edition. This is the 4K Ultra HD edition. And this 4K disc looks quite nice in comparison to the Blu-ray. Now I will tell you that this Blu-ray stands up very nicely. If you happen to have this Blu-ray edition of Seijun Suzuki's Branded to Kill, and you're satisfied with that Blu-ray picture, you have a very nice picture. What you would get with this 4K is an incremental upgrade over this Blu-ray. So you get a little bit more of that detail, that grain is resolved a little bit more finely. You just get a little bit more overall vibrancy and punch to the image. Now you're not getting any HDR, so you're not getting any extension of the dynamic range of the picture, but you get an overall more balanced, more fluid, more stable looking image. It just looks a little bit better with that additional detail and that brand new 4K digital restoration. You just have a stronger looking image overall than this Blu-ray picture. This Blu-ray picture looks nice, but this is a clear step up over the Blu-ray quality. So you're definitely getting a nice and notable upgrade over the Blu-ray edition with this 4K edition. I don't know what HDR would have done. It might have given you a little bit more dynamic range and a little bit more contrast, but I felt like this 4K disc just gave you gave me a very beautiful looking picture to look at that I can definitely tell you is a nice upgrade. If you love this film and you want this film in the highest picture quality available, definitely pick up the 4K Ultra HD. If you like the film but you don't necessarily love it, you already have the Blu-ray and you're happy with that picture, I don't consider this to be an essential upgrade. Although it is an upgrade, it's not an essential upgrade if you're not in love with the film and don't necessarily need it in the highest picture quality. So let that inform your purchasing decision. So if you love this film, you gotta have it at the best quality, pick it up. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm glad I made the upgrade. This is a beautiful looking 4K disc. Now, in terms of the special features, you don't really get anything new in the way of special features. It's the exact same special features that you have on the standard or on the previous Blu-ray edition. You have the interviews with Seijun Suzuki, assistant director Masami Kozu. You have the interview with Suzuki from 1997, and you have an interview with actor Joe Shishido. So all of those interviews are great. They're great to listen to. They talk a lot about the director's path and his journey over the years, his workings with Nakatsu, what ultimately went down between him and the studio and why he got fired. It talks about how this story for Branded to Kill was conceived. It just goes into some really nice detail into that, which I think is worth listening to. The enclosed essay from Tony Raines is also very much worth reading. It also gives some history, on this film that you'll want to take into account. So very good. I mean, overall, this is a very solid edition from Criterion. It's not packed with special features, just has those few interviews. The 4K is a very nice incremental upgrade over the Blu-ray. It doesn't have HDR. You're getting the same audio that you got on the original Blu-ray. So those are some things to think about if you are thinking about picking this up. For me personally, I'm happy that I made the upgrade. I am just extremely happy with how this picture looks on 4K Ultra HD. It just gives you a more refined image. When you look at, like, for example, that final scene, a lot of dark photography going on. You just get a sharper, more refined image. It handles that grain all the more beautifully. And it just gives that image just a little bit added punch and more immediacy in terms of the image. The standard Blu-ray still looks fine, but you can definitely tell you're getting a little bit of an uptick in quality with this 4K disc. So really enjoyed that. And overall, I can definitely recommend this disc. But let me know in the comment section below what you think about Branded to Kill from Seijun Suzuki. Let me know what you think about other films from Suzuki. I hear that, this is a very different film than any other film he's made. This film has inspired other films, which I should have mentioned earlier. I have this up here. It has inspired other films like my favorite Quentin Tarantino film, Kill Bill, the Kill Bill films. So it inspired like the black and white photography that was used in the opening scenes of Kill Bill 2. And so, it's definitely inspired other films throughout the years. But let me know what you think of Seijun Suzuki's filmography, and let me know what you think about Branded to Kill, as well as actor Joe Shishido, what other films you've seen him in. Let me know all that goodness in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time at the movies. Peace.